at the end of 2024, I actually ran my first half marathon, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done physically. It was hard. It took months of just training and running, and I honestly think that the Holy Spirit was assisting me in this. It wasn't like I was doing it entirely of my own will. It was like I was being assisted with this, where it's like I was now given another type of strength in endurance and perseverance to be able to do these like long distance running. This video is going to be a little bit more abstract, so bear with me with this one. Just thinking about it the other day. So this video is going to be talking about a person's spirit. When we look at people for the first time, right? When we look at a person for the first time, we collect a lot of information. We see whether or not the person is male or female. We see their facial expressions. We see, just various like physical attributes about them, how tall they are, hair color, eye color, stuff like that. We see aspects about their appearance, the clothes they're wearing, whether or not they have glasses, things like these, their physical build, stuff like this, right? Our physical eyes see the physical aspects about people. Once we get talking with the person, then we uncover more information about them, right? We get an impression of their mannerisms, how they talk, their cadence of speech, their tonality, things like this, right? The more you talk with them, the clearer the understanding you get of their mind. You get an idea of maybe what they think about, how they think about things, maybe how they deal with certain problems. You see how they explain things. You can see how they react to things. And the longer you talk with people, the more of an impression you get on their maturity also, right? Some people are very mature for their age and can carry on conversation about heavy topics at a relatively young age. But others might not feel as comfortable talking about certain things, right? I think over time you get a clearer understanding about how a person thinks and where their mind is. Being able to see someone physically and being able to talk with them, you get sort of a rough idea of the body and the mind of a person, right? But I would actually argue, and this is actually the point of the whole video, is that I would actually argue that one of the most important aspects about a person is actually their spirit. And I know that's kind of this like abstract thing, like, oh, what is spirit and like, what is that really? But I think that it's the most difficult thing to see. And I think that but a person's spirit is something that bleeds into their body and mind. You can find out a lot about people in conversation, but sometimes conversation is just that. Sometimes conversation is just words and it's just talking. And I think that, a person's true colors come really through their actions and the things that they do on a day-to-day basis. There are times where I literally just don't care what you're talking about, because there are times where I just literally just don't care what you have to say, because I'd rather care about what you do. You can tell me what you actually did, and that would be a lot more interesting to me. Even though telling me what you did is going to be using your words, right? But I look at what people are doing with their time, right? One thing about me is like, I actually love asking what people are working on, or I love asking what they do with their time, because that actually reveals a lot more. I also love asking people how their work is going, whether it be at the workplace, whether it be some project they're working on. And I genuinely like asking that question, because that's an action that they're taking and it's where their mind is, right? And so I get a better idea of how this person is operating in the world when they're doing things that are pertaining to their work. Like what are they, where is their attention going, kind of thing, right? Similarly, right, it's like, how the mind and body have this kind of overlapping kind of Venn diagram thing going on. And I think what really also has a bigger effect actually is the person's spirit. And Who the person is at the core of their being will have an effect on their outward appearance and body. The same core of someone will have an effect on someone's mind when it comes to what they think about, their thoughts, and their intentions. I think when Jesus entered my life, it's like my spirit was completely brought to life in a completely different way, in a completely new way. When the Holy Spirit starts to fill you, then it's like my spirit was jump-started, like a dead battery or something. Like you need to jump-start a car, like the battery is dead or something like that. That's what it feels like. It felt like when the Holy Spirit was first entering me, it felt like a jump-start. It felt like something that was dormant in me for so long is now, something about that is now turned on. Like some switch turned on, and now it's like another way of living. It's like now I'm like, it feels like I'm fully alive now. And ever since that, it's had honestly a very direct impact on my body and my mind. I used to have a hard time finding motivation to go to the gym consistently, and I'd maybe be able to go for like a month or so, and then I kind of just fall out of it. But when the Holy Spirit is with me, I can tell that I'm capable of so much. I'm coming from more of like a gamer demographic where gamers are not the most physically fit people. At the end of 2024, I actually ran my first half marathon, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done physically. It was hard. It took months of just training and running, and I honestly think that the Holy Spirit was assisting me in this. It wasn't like I was doing it entirely of my own will. It was like I was being assisted with this, where it's like I was now given another type of strength in endurance and perseverance to be able to do these like long distance running. I would have never thought I would be able to do that, by the way. I would have never thought I would be able to accomplish such a thing. And I truly think that the Holy Spirit was able to give me this kind of discipline and also the willpower to be able to run consistently for many months in a row. My mind also feels renewed because it feels like my ability to focus has gotten way better. My mind is way more clear these days, especially since I'm off social media. I think that was a big distraction, and it was causing just like a lot of kind of like garbage information to enter my head that honestly just wasn't really important to me. And I owe that to Jesus, because he honestly renewed me. When I didn't have the Holy Spirit in me, I would think about games and worldly things, and the renewal of my spirit also has changed my behavior and how willing I am to help. Yeah, this is definitely a big one. I'm a lot more forgiving now, and I'm a lot more selfless. And I try to live a life that isn't as self-centered. I was never a person that really gets angry anyway. And these days I can't even see myself getting like really, really angry, unless the circumstances were like very specific and dire. I don't really deal with anger or anything. I'm a lot more patient, a lot more understanding these days. And I was already a pretty good listener, but I would say like even now, I'm a better listener now. Now that the Holy Spirit is basically filling me up. My whole point of the video is like, even though our eyes and ears can give us information on people, it's not really until you learn about how a person is aligned that you can confirm more things about them. You can confirm like the more core aspects about a person. That's why I think a person's spirit is the most important thing. And I also think that it takes the longest time to be able to see that, because it's not so obvious at first. And I think that a person's actions reveal where their intentions are. And I think that the spirit is really what guides a lot of people and what they do. Some people have very unclean spirits in them, and it tempts them with different types of behavior, and their actions will reflect that. I actually think that it's sometimes a spiritual issue first and foremost, rather it being some kind of like hereditary thing. Like maybe, for example, if it comes to like alcoholism or addiction, that well, like, oh, it ran in my family, so I have this type of nature, which actually is totally legit, and I don't want to dismiss that, but I think that when you're out of the faith, when you don't have Jesus in your life and you deal with these types of things like addictions can be cleared up. I think that Jesus can clean you up, man. Jesus can do wonders in people. And so if there's aspects about yourself that you don't like, I actually would argue that sometimes it might actually just be a spiritual issue first, because you probably have a bad way of thinking, or you might have a destructive way of thinking, or you might fall into sort of destructive habits. And I think that sometimes it's actually a spiritual issue rather than people trying to like solve the issue logistically. I honestly think that sometimes you have to revert to things like prayer and fasting and reading the Bible, because I think sometimes it takes a renewal of a person's spirit to really change at a core level. And I know, and I'm not trying to dismiss, modern medicine, or I'm not trying to say like every, disease or whatever can be, cured overnight from a single prayer or something like that. I'm not saying, medications they don't work. I'm not trying to say it like that, but I do think that people in the world are a little bit over medicated. And I think that at the core root of the problem, there is a spiritual problem first with the person. So yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, do all the YouTube thingers, whatever it is. I'll have a video up on the screen for you guys, so you have something to watch or whatever. But yeah, that's about it. If you made it this far, thank you. I'll just see you guys in the next video. Peace.